You didn't hear me just say, "Woo, Stace, like, is she on fire? Or is she on fire? She is on fire. She has all the glow." So we just tried to do a Facebook Live to share about our guide, Miss Stace. And there is something funky going on, and I wasn't able to add her. So we pivot in the technology digital world, and there's always solutions and always options. And sometimes we just need to pivot. And here we are. So we're going to take a few minutes and meet Stacey, and she is our guide. She has, well, how about this? How about Stacey? Why don't you share a little bit about you, what you do, and then what you've been enjoying for Worthy Prep for this Sunday.
Okay. All right. So I am Stacey Duffy. I am a mom of five beautiful daughters and two grandsons. They're what keep me going every day and have led me to find more in my life now that they are all older and doing their own lives. I find that I have some time to myself and actually I'm really enjoying it. I do miss them being around and knowing that they're in the house, but I know they're all safe and well. So that's a bonus. I am a holistic wellness practitioner. I specialize in hypnotherapy, life coaching, and nutritional coaching. I also have a few other modalities, um, just a few, like toe reading, which is very interesting. Threw me for a loop when I first heard about it, and then the more I've learned, it's a lot. You know, everything we do on our feet, so our feet are going to show a lot about our lives and the path that we have been on and where we're going. That's just a little bit about that, and then with Worthy. Um, it's really changed the way that I look at a lot of things. This week has been very trying and
Mm, mm.
it has been helpful to show up in a different way than I usually do for people. Um, I thought back to when I was going through something traumatic, what I needed, and I tried to be that for my friend um, that is going through a really, really traumatic time right now. And it just knowing that you guys are there too for support on top of my family that's there being very supportive was very heartfelt to me. And I knew if I needed you guys I could reach out, and thank you for just letting me know that everyone was there. Oh, so to get to the worthy this week, I am teaching along with Miss Tamara, and I am focusing on chapter 6, which is the lie, I should only be seen when I'm happy. That chapter screamed in my face all week long. And that was, I think when Tam said, hey, let's do this and everything, it flew. Like everything was flowing as I was writing what I wanted to teach about and all of that stuff. It wasn't anything I really had to think on. It was just coming to me. So I knew it was meant to be. And it also helped keep me grounded during this time too.
Um, it's one of those things where when we heard of what happened to your friend and her family, and we knew you were on the schedule, there were three alternatives: opt out, show up and be a spectator, or step in. And what I'm hearing you say is you stepped in. You're stepping in. It's a process. It's not like you didn't make one decision. You've had to constantly make those decisions. And what we talked about this week is that when tragedy hits anyone in life, most especially so close to you and close to your life, and the fact that you've had this similar tragedy of in life. And it wasn't yesterday, wasn't last week, wasn't last year, it was years ago, that triggers emotions and all these memories. And what's so incredible is that because you've been working on yourself, you showed up differently, and you were also able to see people's reactions differently and love them through it. Because when we're in tragedy and someone else is in tragedy, it's like we bang, like we're not literally like walking together. We're like, well, this makes me mad. Well, this makes me mad. Well, you didn't do this. There's so many emotions that come together, and all we need to be is together, loving each other through something horrible. And I believe that because you went back to school, you dove into yourself, your girls are doing the same. You're so proud of them. They've found and gathered their own gifts and gone their directions and are so incredibly successful individually,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes.
it's
Yes, they
incredible.
are.
I mean, so incredible. It just gives me the chills to see 5 independent women who have created their own and working to create their own. It's not like, oh, they've arrived. No one's ever arrived. We're in
Right.
process. And so in that life this last week, how clear it was that there's so many spaces that you've grown, and that holistic approach to being a coach, a life coach, the nutrition, you stepped into yourself first, and that's sometimes all we can do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Hold on.
oxygen
Yes.
mask. Like,
Yes.
we joke about it, but it's
Yeah.
it's our own oxygen mask. Like, you had to do that to be able to step into your friend and be there for her, because you are dealing with your own memories of feeling loss, grief, anger, all those things flood up. And to choose in week to teach and be able to literally, when we were looking over everything, Tamara and I literally had a moment of silence. I'm like, wow, God has orchestrated such an incredible place to have you teach. I should only be seen when I'm happy, which is
Hmm.
absolute garbage in life, because that's not true. It's not true.
Right.
It's not even at all possible. So I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to have you share it. I know this week has been a journey. And what one thing would you like to give? I was going to say your followers, your audience, like, what would you like to give right here today on this Saturday morning? Is there a tip, inspiration, something that you would want to share that could inspire someone to keep going?
I would say is showing up authentically. I think that's the thing. And there were a couple times where my daughters were like, I don't want to cry. I don't want anybody to see my emotions. I'm walking out. And I was like, what's wrong with showing our emotions? Why do we feel that we can't? Which Miss Maggie here tells me all the time. And it just was clicking. And I was like, let it out. I've taught them to hold that back. And that hurts me that I've taught them to hold back their tears and not show them. And I know I taught them that because that was me, is no one's going to see me cry. But I realized when I was talking to my daughters about that in the car, that my dad was like, don't let them see you cry. They win when
Be strong.
yes. And I was like, oh, dad, you've taught me so many things in life. But that one right there is good, but kind of backfired a little bit.
Right. You're
But
gonna kind of like, it's in a proper timing, because that
yeah,
emotion is realness, the authenticity. It doesn't mean we're gonna go around and be sad. Like, it's the movie Inside Out, like this, Is it sadness that she's like walking around like,
Yeah.
like that's not 100% of the time, but when we're in it, acknowledge it, and then find the tools to say, I felt it, I feel it, I acknowledge it, and then let's move forward. And that's what
Yes.
you're doing this week. You're moving forward.
Yes.
It's not over, it's not gone. There's so many more, and we've talked about that. It's the after a funeral, it's after the memorial, it's after those times when everyone goes away that someone needs that reassurance to keep going and to step into something different, because grief is love with nowhere to go. And that's what hurts the most.
Yep.
Yet you've found another place for your grief to go. You've dove into yourself, you've drove into your girls, you've driven into your health. You're taking those steps that you have control over, and you're able to be inspiring and guide other women through the process. And your example is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let me stop the video. We have our next mastermind. So one moment, please.